Welcome to the Narcotic Educational Foundation of America, also known as NEFA. For over 90 years, NEFA has provided America's youth with up-to-date information on illicit street drugs and the most abused pharmaceuticals of the day. NEFA's mission is to educate our communities and children on the dangers and consequences of drug abuse, as well as to provide preventional information and tools to make right choices. We are accomplishing this mission in many ways. From up-to-date information on current and emerging drug trends, to scholarships for children ages 10 to 14 through our Say No to Drugs poster, essay, and video scholarship programs during National Red Ribbon Week. Also, our online educational bulletins on numerous drug-related topics, our online educational programs to assist parents and teachers with self-paced training on the dangers of drugs, and of course, our community drug prevention and education training presentations, which are taught by our dynamic and professional trainers. NEFA's purpose is to assist our youth with difficult decisions that may impact the rest of their lives. Today, NEFA is managed by leaders who firmly believe drugs hurt and destroy lives, families, and our communities. NEFA's board of directors is made up of dedicated professionals who are passionate and work diligently to forward NEFA's mission. Due to the ever-changing drug trends in America, providing up-to-date information has always been a priority, as well as a great challenge. NEFA's researchers continue to review the overwhelming amount of educational information available in order to share the most dynamic and objective information with our members and our communities. Let's take a trip back in history to a time where America was just coming out of World War I. Jazz music was the new craze. There was a growth in the use of the automobile, the telephone, and radio, and motion pictures were gaining great popularity. Also during this time, the Prohibition had just been put into place with the passing of the 18th Amendment. This was the first decade to receive its own nickname, mainly due to the drastic social and cultural changes in our country. There was a reason this time was called the Roaring Twenties. Drug abuse concerns were also on the rise with the growing use of cocaine and heroin. The one thing the Prohibition taught us was that no matter how illegal you make something, the problem is still going to continue. The Prohibition era will always be associated with gangsters and the mafia, Al Capone being one of the most notorious mafia leaders. This time was also associated with bootleggers, rum runners, and just total chaos. With the country still caught up in the Great Depression, creating jobs and revenue by legalizing the liquor industry had great appeal. Democrat Franklin Roosevelt ran for president that year on a platform calling for Prohibition's repeal. He easily won victory over the incumbent president, Herbert Hoover. FDR's victory meant the end of Prohibition, and in February 1933, Congress adopted a resolution proposing the 21st Amendment to the Constitution that would repeal the 18th Amendment. The control of heroin started in 1914 with the Harrison Tax Act, which was set in place to regulate and control the sales and distribution of opioids for medical purposes only and prescribed by a physician. In 1924, the derivative of heroin from the opioid family was made illegal under federal law. Over the next 10 years, the Bureau of Narcotics had arrested some 50,000 users and 25,000 physicians for the illegal use of heroin. The control of cocaine began as part of the Dangerous Drug Act of 1920, when it was added to the list of narcotics to be outlawed. Unfortunately, as with opioids like heroin, the dangers of cocaine abuse were recognized by lawmakers after the fact. By this time, the market for cocaine, like heroin, had already been established and was deeply entrenched into America's culture. During this same time was when NEFA was planted and began to grow. In February of 1924, the same year heroin was made illegal, the Anti-Narcotic League of America was created by Edward Hall. Edward was a natural crusader and felt the need to do something to help educate our communities and attempt to prevent our nation's youth from the dangers of drugs and drug abuse. Edward Hall was the proud father of Henry Hall. Henry grew up with the same passion and drive as his father did. Later, together they joined forces and the Anti-Narcotic League of America was in full swing. It was several years later that the name was changed to what we know today as the Narcotic Educational Foundation of America. Henry carried the torch proudly, and after considerable research, partnerships were developed with the motion picture industry to produce films that told the story of the dangers of drugs and drug abuse. The first movie was called The Judge and the Dope Peddler. This movie was presented up and down the Pacific Coast to fraternal organizations, churches, schools, and many other groups. The movie was professionally developed and gained favorable publicity that opened many doors for Henry Hall and NEFA. A few years later, the movie The Judge and the Dope Peddler was rewritten to become a one-man presentation. For years, this presentation was taken on the road by Henry Hall from Montana to Texas, across the West Coast, and throughout California. During the same time, NEFA developed educational programs which were being used in schools, service clubs, churches, and many other organizations. The notoriety of NEFA began to spread. Henry was invited to attend the Federal Bureau of Narcotics Training School in Washington, D.C., where Henry graduated on May 15, 1959, with honors. At this point in time, NEFA began producing more specialized motion pictures. The first was a tribute to Harry Anslinger, who was the first commissioner of the United States Federal Bureau of Narcotics, widely considered the first United States drug czar. This movie was called Assassins of Youth. The next movie was titled Narcotics. The next motion picture was narrated by a popular actor of that time named Ronald Reagan, and the movie was entitled Dangerous Drugs. Through the years, Henry continued to take the show on the road across the nation. He also developed several written publications which were distributed across the nation to schools, churches, libraries, chiefs of police across the United States, and anywhere else Henry could find a place to display them. As we move forward in time and the creation of the World Wide Web, the need for distribution of written material became a thing of the past. To ensure the mission of NEFA continued throughout the generations, in 1995, NEFA was united with the California Narcotic Officers Association, also known as CNOA. CNOA got its start in 1964 and had developed into one of the largest narcotic training organizations in the United States. Today, CNOA is still recognized as having the best cutting-edge training in the area of narcotics. Most of the instructors are sought after to teach in all different emerging drug trends across the nation. Today, CNOA still plays a major role in managing NEFA. However, NEFA has its own board of directors and is a 501c3. Henry Hall's daughter, Sherry Kister, and his son-in-law, Jack Kister, are still part of the NEFA board and passionate about Henry's mission. Through the years, NEFA's stance on drug education, prevention, and right choices has not changed since the day it was developed. In fact, the need for narcotic education and prevention is even more important today with the epidemic of drug-related crimes, abuse, and addiction across our nation. Every time we turn around, a new drug is being created and distributed to our communities and to our youth. Today, NEFA has begun to move into the social media times with the development of an interactive web page, Facebook, Twitter, and others. NEFA has not forgotten, though, the benefit of face-to-face education and prevention training. NEFA is currently developing new, up-to-date prevention programs geared to parents, teachers, community leaders, and of course our youth. NEFA's online drug training program is a great way to educate yourself on numerous drug-related topics with our easy, how-to-learn, self-paced programs. NEFA's Say No to Drugs scholarship programs gives youth between the ages of 10 and 14 the ability to submit posters, essays, and videos with the Say No to Drugs focus. Scholarships are awarded every year to the winning children. NEFA is proud to partner with like-minded organizations and groups who share the passion for education, prevention, and right choices. Drug abuse prevention is a battle that should not be fought alone. You can help by joining with us by being an active partner with NEFA through facilitating community education opportunities, bringing the Say No to Drugs scholarship to your local schools, or by giving any amount to help keep this mission alive for generations to come, as NEFA has done since 1924. The future of our nation depends on our children, and they depend on us to develop them so that they can have the tools and the education to make the right choices and become the next leaders of our nation.